Okay, we got some prepping to do. I'm cooking just for myself today, this morning, this afternoon. Cooking for just me and me only, right? Just my stuff. Okay. Just came home from the hardware store, had to snatch up a few things. Let's stack this bed a little bit. I'm not gonna compact this paper too much. A little bit of paper. I get this paper for free. This is just free scrap paper, so I don't mind burning it. Get a proper fire going. Now I didn't bust up any kindling, but we do have some smaller pieces that will light and burn quicker. I'm gonna throw a few pieces of paper in here just to get this fire going nice and easy. And then we got some thinner pieces right here that are gonna light real easy. So that shouldn't be an issue right here. We're gonna take this. Let's see what else we got. We got some good thin pieces right here that are gonna light and it's gonna ignite these bigger pieces. So when these burn down, we got some nice chunks of hardwood. I just went scrounging for scraps in the backyard this morning, early this morning. Scrounging for some scraps of hardwood, dry hardwood, and I got plenty back there. I found a lot. Just out here searching for scraps of hardwood. We got some nice thin scraps of hardwood that we're going to be able to get this fire lit and going pretty easy, pretty quickly with. So I like to find and put these thin pieces in there because they get it going, and then after that, fire's off to the races. Then I can stick a medium piece in there, and then, you know, a nice sized piece of hardwood in there. All right, so we're getting this going with the plasma lighter. So let's get this lit and going with the plasma lighter and heating up our pan. Plasma lighter works pretty good, man. I'm not gonna lie. I was a little wary at first buying a lighter. It was like 15 bucks for this plasma lighter. I was a little wary at first, but yeah, it's worth it though. I'm not gonna front. I'm not gonna complain. It's worth it. All right, because I get to use it over and over again. I don't have to worry about filling up butane or anything. I just have to charge it. And if you're being resourceful, like I am, I bought it from my job. So naturally, I'm going to bring it back to my job and charge it up there. I got to get that. That's my oil. So I bought the plasma lighter for about 15 bucks for my job. And then I take it back to my job when I want to charge it up. So essentially, it's a $15 lighter that I don't have to keep paying for fuel. Granted, it's chargeable. I could charge it up at home. I'm not really going to feel it, but I'd rather charge it up at the job. I feel better about that. All right, so let's get this pan on here. We're going to cook the meat first. We're cooking a few different things. Ooh, okay. Now we got some little pressure on that pan to settle that stove right there. So we're going to stick some other pieces of hardwood in there. And I was finding scraps of hardwood. You might see it behind the stove. I was in the backyard scrounging up scraps of hardwood this morning, and I cut a few pieces off. So I'm back there finding pieces like this, like branches like this. I was out there all morning in the garden, you know, trellising tomatoes and peppers and stuff like that. And I was like, you know what, let me get some hardwood because it's time to go find some scraps and stuff. But we're gonna make some. This is breakfast for me. You know, call it what you want. You know, time-wise, it's brunch hour, but this is actually breakfast for me. So it is what it is. It's my breakfast. All right, the family already ate. Wife and kids already ate. I had to head to the hardware store this morning, and I went and got a bunch of water because we buy the 5-gallon jugs of water. And you're gonna see me cut right here. I'm gonna cut a few pieces of hardwood. So I got a bunch of these pieces of hardwood right here, and I'll show y'all. I'll bring the camera over here, show y'all what I went searching for this morning, just so that I can keep doing these videos. All right, so the fire's going for sure. You see the fire going. All right, we got some ingredients over here, eggs. All right, we're gonna make some wraps, some burritos, but yeah, I'm cutting this firewood right here. Y'all see this firewood? I went and scrounged up this firewood right here because you know, a lot of the other firewood I have is not seasoned. So what felt this pallet right here that fell over, all right, that's not seasoned. But this right here, this is seasoned. So I went searching for a bunch of this like type of firewood in the backyard, because I was back there, all the way back there. I was back there trellising up tomatoes and peppers and all that stuff this morning. All right, and this garden right here too. But yeah, now it's time to eat. Time to fill the body with fuel. So I'm gonna cut this one up too eventually. But right now, I'm gonna cut a few pieces off of this so we can make breakfast. All right, we're just cutting a few pieces of wood off of this right here. This is hardwood that I found in the backyard. I done cut down some black locust trees and such that a few years ago, and it should just been sitting back there. So I just let this dry up right here, and then yeah, I'm gonna cut a few pieces off, and this is what we'll be burning this morning for breakfast. All right, so we got a pan heating up. See that fire going? All right, in with another piece, right? All right, so let's put some more wood in there and let's get this going. That's a pretty thin pan. As far as cooking, I bought this pan specifically for cooking outside, so I don't cook indoors with this stainless steel pan right there. Let me know if y'all can hear me. Y'all can or cannot hear me. I just want to make sure y'all good. On the audio tip, all right, so now we need some more pieces of wood in there because we're starting to dwindle down. So let's throw this piece in there. We got a couple pieces, couple scrap pieces right here. Let's throw this piece in there. I'm gonna throw this piece in there. Some thinner pieces that I know are gonna light easier. Because I got a nice chunk right here. All right, not the most seasoned, but this will burn just as easy. All right, on an outdoor wood burning stove, I'm not worrying about you know, all the stuff building up in the flue. All right, making a flue fire. So I'm okay with burning wood that's not, you know, below that 20% mark. This is probably not below that 20% mark, but it's been sitting outside drying for a little while, so I don't mind burning it. I'm gonna keep this to the side, but yeah, some of this like scrap pieces we definitely gonna burn. Just letting that stuff that's in there, those scrap pieces, get lit. It's going. All right, I'm gonna cut another couple pieces right here. So we got the really dry hardwood that I've been searching for this morning. I got one piece off already. This is gonna burn pretty good, and we're not gonna need too many pieces, maybe like 2 or 3. We're gonna cut this off. All right, we got a couple pieces right here. All right, so this is dry. This is dry, good seasoned wood right here. All right, so this will be going in next. I don't want to be putting a bunch of wet wood in there. This is pretty dry and seasoned, but we're gonna make sure this fire is lit. It's lit. It's definitely lit. I just want to make sure we got it. Everything is pretty much going before I close this up. Make sure my dampers are open, because once this stove right here, this is a tent stove. Once this tent stove kind of heats up, it's hard to open these vents because I guess the metal expands or whatever. But we're gonna let this fire get a nice amount of oxygen before we close that up. All right, and let's start prepping our ingredients. All right, this table is not 100% flat or flat at all. It's way off from being flat. So we're gonna make some plantains, and then we're gonna make some breakfast burritos. I'm gonna do the breakfast burritos first, and then I got some oil out here, and we're gonna fry up some plantains. So that's what I'm doing for my breakfast. That's what I wanted this morning. All right, this breakfast is all about me. Usually I'm out here cooking for the whole family, but this breakfast is all about me. The family already ate. I went to the hardware store, did a few things. The family's good. All right, so I'm the only one that still has yet to eat. So this is about me. I got about I got about 7, 8 eggs out here. So we're gonna have a proper man lumberjack breakfast. All right, we're gonna get all our fuels in. I still got more work to do. Been out here in the garden, getting stuff done since 6 this morning, but I still got more work to do. So I need to be properly fueled for the task at hand, for everything else I got to do today. All right, let's make sure this fire is fully lit. Oh, might gotta stick some more paper in there. We got a lot of heat coming off in there. Might want to stick a few pieces of paper in there. All right. Might have went too hard on a couple of those pieces in there. It's all good though. Let's stick a few more pieces of paper in there and see if that gets the job done. All right, so some of it, like this paper, like I get from the job, like they advertise some of the stuff that we sell, and then they throw all this stuff away. They just throw it away, recycle it, and I'm like, you know, let me get some of that stuff that we throw away and recycle, because I'm gonna burn it and I'm gonna cook with it, and we're gonna get free fuel, and we're gonna make dinner with it. Last night I made baked ziti, you know, on these wood burning stoves outside. If anybody that is here today that wasn't tapped in last night, I was out here and I made baked ziti on this wood burning stove and this tent stove right here. So not tent stove, this is the tent stove, the tent wood burning stove, and it's the rocket stove. So I had the rocket stove going, I had this tent stove going, and I finished off in my charcoal grill, and we finished off and melted the cheese inside and on top of the baked ziti, finished that off. So you can check that video out. We had a live last night, made some amazing baked ziti. We got more than half left over, so we're gonna have leftovers. I'm gonna take a lot of those leftovers to work for the next 2 days. All right, I'm just out here making brunch. All right, that's what we're doing. Let's see if we can close this box up a little bit, man. Retain some of that heat, but I don't want so much smoke coming out this way. We got enough smoke coming out the flue. Make sure our vents stay open. Let me try and get that wood going. All right, let me know. Let me know if we good on the microphone, if y'all can hear me or cannot hear me. Let me know. See what we talking about. All right. This should be good to go. I'm getting ready to start prepping my ingredients, because I definitely got to get these eggs going, chop up my onions and peppers. All right, chop up the meat. Looks like the wood is starting to catch. Looks like it. Yep, wood is starting to catch a little bit. Stick a little bit more paper in there for fuel, just to make sure. And we rocking with the plasma lighter today, okay? All right, so I want to move this pan out the way while we prep these ingredients. So I got a cast iron pan, and this is stainless steel. So right now I'm heating up the stainless steel. Ooh, yeah, that's getting pretty hot. How it's supposed to. We're gonna move the cast iron out the way, because we're gonna use the cast iron and we're gonna do the eggs in the cast iron. My cast iron is beautifully seasoned, so we're not worrying about sticking on that. And then we got the stainless steel. I don't cook on non-stick surface pans. All right, my stainless steel and my cast iron are naturally non-stick, so I don't do non-stick pans. So it's all stainless steel, cast iron. I probably got more cast iron than most people in life. I got so much cast iron, man. I got an obsession with cast iron, man. All right. Hence this shirt right here. It's hard to tell, but it say cast iron strong. Cast iron strong. I don't know if it says it a little bit more clear on the back. Cast iron strong. All right. Hence me cooking on cast iron. You look it up, cast iron strong. That's my thing, man. I mean, that's how I started. You know, my first Instagram and stuff was called Cast Iron Strong. Me cooking and YouTube. That was maybe about, I don't know, 5-7 years ago. I don't know, something like that. Cast Iron Strong. All right, but let's get it going. We gotta prep our ingredients. We ain't got no time for the BS. Our ingredients got to get prepped. All right, so let's get our meat cut, and then we got to get our veggies cut, both of them. All right, so let's start with the veggies. Ooh. Start with our veggies. The table is not perfectly flat, so it is what it is. We're just gonna have to cook with it like this. Let's cut this pepper out. And I'm gonna cut out the seeds and the inner. All right, a little center right here. I like to pull that out because that has most of the seeds on there. And then I throw these in a compost. All right, if you're not composting, all right, I think you're doing yourself and the earth a disservice. All right, I'm not Captain Planet, but I grow a lot of vegetables. Just one of these seeds can produce numerous peppers. All right, so if you're not growing your own food, you know, that's a beautiful start. That was my start. All these seeds that you see inside of a pepper, just plant one next year. Put it in the pot. If you don't have your own land, just put it in the pot and see what it does. Just put it in the pot, see what it does. That was my start. And now I have probably close to 100 peppers in the ground right now. At least 100 peppers in the ground. So many peppers. And I got a lot more that I'm still trying to find space for. Now I have the space, but you know, I got to prep the site where it's going to go. You know, so many vegetables, so much. And I can't bring myself to once a pepper or tomato or squash or whatever it is, once it sprouts, like I have a hard time trying to kill it off, and I don't like doing that. So I'll try to make space, you know, even if I'm like, all right, well, everything looks good, we planted everything that we needed to plant, but I'm going to try to make space regardless. All right, so I don't like killing off my plants. I'm one of them dudes. Call it what you want to call it, but I like free food. So I do a lot of composting. I was talking about compost. I do a lot of composting. So all my food scraps, you know, somebody else might throw them in the garbage and it goes to a landfill. All my food scraps, you know, if it's biodegradable, it goes into my compost pile and it goes into my garden, you know, that year or the next year as nutrients for like all these seeds. Like say if I got like 100 seeds coming from this one pepper, if I count it out, it'll probably be at least 100 seeds. And then one of those seeds can produce a pepper plant that can produce many peppers, right? So the next year, like all the scraps and stuff, all the vegetable scraps, whether it be lettuce, peppers, whatever it is, it don't matter. Cabbage, it don't matter. All the, even weeds, all those scraps will be nutrients for the seed that I germinate the next year. So one of these seeds is going to get nutrients from all my other food scraps, you know, all year round, and then I get free food. So that's how I do it. You know, call it homesteading, calling it, you know, just learning how to grow, call it farming, call it whatever you choose to call it, man, or women, whatever you choose to call it. This is how I operate. All right, so living off the land, if you get more in tune with nature, you know, things become a lot easier, things become a lot more apparent, things become a lot more smoother and cheaper, and you realize that you can actually eat for free. You know, it's sweat equity involved for sure. So, I mean, I'm not trying to say that you don't have to do any work and you just get free and everything is just abundant and free. All right, it's not free if you're talking about sweat equity. But as far as like monetary, like, you know, money you have to spend to grow your own food, you don't got to spend money. You really don't have to spend any money if you want to start growing something. All right. One of these seeds, like I said, one of these seeds. So I'll throw a bunch of this stuff and I'll put seeds in my compost. Some people like, they don't put seeds in their compost. They don't like seeds in their compost. I'll take all these scraps, throw them in the compost. And when I spread my compost, I get a gazillion volunteers. And I produce more food in volunteer plants that I didn't intentionally plant than I do in stuff that I do intentionally plant. So what's that say? Things naturally grow where nature wants them to grow best. All right. So I got my peppers cut, going in with the onion next. Pan is heating up. All right. I would throw these on there, but I want the meat to go on first. So now we're going on with the onion. All right. Scraps, onion scraps, pepper scraps, all going in the compost. We don't do waste. I don't do waste. Zero waste here. Zero waste. Not even weeds, you know, grass, weeds. I don't waste any of that. All that stuff goes in the compost and becomes nutrients for my vegetables that I'm growing either that year or the next year. All right, so I take off this outside layer. It's not going to waste. I promise you, it's not going to waste. All right, if I don't eat it, it's going in the compost. And I feel good knowing that it's not going to a landfill. I produce very little garbage. All right. So a lot of the stuff that stinks in the garbage comes from stuff that can go in your compost. So if you want to reduce your garbage, you want to reduce stuff that goes in the landfill, you want to increase your output as far as what you're doing in vegetables and food that you know where it comes from, nutrients that you can give to your family, and you know it's not riddled with pesticides and such. Start growing your own food and start producing your own compost. You know, you heard it here. That's what I recommend. I do a lot of that, and I've been doing it for years now. I wouldn't do it any other way. If I had to start over, I wouldn't do it any other way. You know, paint me rich as Elon Musk, I still wouldn't do it any other way. I love being able to come outside and have my own food, my own garden, my own everything, and I know everything, where everything comes from. I know what's not in the food. I know it's not a ton of pesticides and a bunch of stuff that I didn't ask for. It's not a bunch of that stuff. All right, I got a little bit of leftover onion. I got a good mind to just put all this onion in there. So because the family's not eating this, I don't go too crazy on the onion because I know the family don't like it. But guess what? The family not eating right now. The family already ate. So I'm gonna hollow out that core right there, compost, and I'm gonna eat all this onion. All right, we're gonna do all the onion today. Yeah, I like onion. So yeah, it's my breakfast. Usually I'm operating as this is for the family. Drop the piece, but today this is purely Lumberjack's breakfast. And I think we're gonna go get a piece of hot pepper too. I got some hot peppers growing in the garden. Not a little bit. Got a lot. Got a lot of hot peppers growing in the garden. But right now we're gonna cut this meat up. Pause. We're gonna cut this meat up. All right, and then we're gonna get this pan going, and then we're gonna go search for that hot pepper, because that hot pepper is gonna go in with my food. All right, so I got some sweet pepper right there. So we got bell pepper, we got onion, and then we're gonna go get some Hungarian wax pepper. My Hungarian wax pepper is starting to turn color. You can go and get it when it's green, when it's yellow, but it will start to turn orange and red. And those produce the quickest, the fastest 60-day crops. You know, love the Hungarian wax pepper, but we're gonna go get a little bit of that, and it's gonna, if I take some off the vine, it's gonna help produce more peppers this season. So it's not taking energy from producing more peppers if I go take some of those off. All right, so now we got the meat. All right, so let's cut this meat up. So I'm gonna put the meat on there, hit it with the veggies, and then while that's cooking, we're gonna go in that garden right here. It's a food forest. I don't like calling it a garden. This is a food forest. All right, we're gonna walk inside that food forest, and we're gonna go get a couple Hungarian wax peppers, and it's going in my wraps because I like spicy. Right now we don't have any spice. We got flavor, but we don't got spice. Spicy. I don't want to say spice. Spicy. We don't have spicy. I want spiciness. All right, so we're doing some ham this morning. Oh, get up out of here. Look like a bee. All right, we're doing ham this morning. All right, let's do our thing. We're doing the long slices, and then I'm gonna slice it the other way. All right, it cooks a lot better, cooks a lot more even, cooks a lot more faster when I chop it up like this. Okay, and then we're gonna go the other way. Bing, bam, get it. Now I'll do stuff like bacon, sausage, and these wraps, but this was economical. This was convenient. This is what I had to frost it. All right, got some bacon in there, but I left the bacon in there. I'm like, the wife and kids are gonna want the bacon tomorrow, so I left the bacon because I'm gonna be at work tomorrow morning. The wife and kids gonna get a good breakfast. You know, the wife gonna wake up and make them bacon and eggs and all that good stuff. So, but right here, right now, you know, I'm gonna do we're gonna do the ham. Okay. All right. So we're going in with the ham, but we got hit with the oil first. All right. So I got a couple different oils out here. We're gonna hit it with the oil. You know, typically if I'm in the house, I do a high smoke point oil, just so we're not setting off the smoke alarm, right? Let's go. We're going in with the meat. All right, let's make sure we ain't any comments before we go in. Going in with the meat. Let's see what we're talking about. Hello. All right. What's going on? All right. What are you fixing for brunch? We're making burritos. Hey y'all, brother. Okay. Northern Impalement said hi. What's going on? So we're making burritos. We're making breakfast burritos, and we're gonna fry some plantains. That's what we're making for breakfast. All right. Just finished chopping up some ingredients, and we're gonna go get some ingredients from the garden. All right. So just put some oil in there. Okay. Mix around that oil. Mix around that oil right there. Now we're going in with the meat. Okay. Going in with the meat first. Make sure all the meat is in there. Some of the onions fell in, but it don't matter. I just don't like putting in the meat directly with the peppers, because the peppers cook pretty quickly. So the meat can go in with the onions, but I'd rather go in with the meat first, get a little bit of cook, a little bit of sear and stuff with the meat. My door popped open. Make sure. Ooh, we need some more fuel in there anyways. Almost like a blessing. My door popped open. So we got to get some more fuel in there. So we got some of these pieces that I cut off this morning. Let's stick some of that in there. All right. Got 2 decent pieces of hardwood. That should light really easy. Close that up. Let's come on now. All right, door's closed. All right. That should light up pretty easy in there. Should. All right. All right, let's take a look at this. Let's get this going. Let this meat get some heat on it, and then I'll give you all a close-up on it. And let's see what utensils we're gonna be cooking with this. What are we gonna use? Let's use the spatula right here. All right. So I got my knife. Have everything ready for the good to go. And we're using a spatula. We're just gonna use a spatula. Got the metal spatula, stainless steel pan. And we just wanna get some nice searing on this. We got our oil in there. And as that hardwood that I just stuck in there starts to catch, we're gonna get some decent heat. We're gonna get some decent heat in there. And right now, that's what I'm waiting for. So as this starts to heat up, and the heat didn't go anywhere, we just want more heat. So I just put that hardwood in there, and we're gonna get a decent amount of more heat. And then once this starts heating up, I'm gonna hit it with the onion, give it a little bit, and then hit it with the peppers. If I have preference, I'd rather hit it with the onion first, then hit it with the pepper. The onion can withstand a little bit more heat than the pepper. The pepper will definitely soften up, and it's not as palatable, and it's not as tasty on the tongue. Pause. Like tasty on the tongue, you know, with the peppers being all mushy. The onions, I think the onions can withstand more heat, more time under heat, and you kind of want more of that, especially if you're cooking like white onion or yellow onion. Yeah, some of that pungent flavor can be broken down if you cook it a little longer. Those peppers, they're already edible fresh, so I don't want to put too much time on the peppers because they'll only just get more and more mushy if you leave them on there longer. Now, I'm not an expert. I've just been cooking a long time. I'm not an expert. Just been cooking a long time. That's it. That's all. All right. Now, while this is cooking, I think I want to take y'all with me to go get some Hungarian wax peppers because I want some spice to my food. So we're going to go in my backyard enclosure. Let me open up this gate. We're going to go in the backyard enclosure, and we're going to go get a spicy pepper so that we can add it to our breakfast burritos, because that's what we're making, breakfast burritos. All right, so let's open this up. and I'll take y'all with me as we go get some of those Hungarian wax peppers, right? All right, let's do it. Okay, so the meat is cooking, right? While the meat is cooking, all right, we got some ingredients prepped right there. We got some onions and peppers prepped. We got some ham cooking, and while this is starting to brown, we're going to go into one of our enclosures in the back that has some spicy peppers, and let's go get a couple spicy peppers because I want some spice in this. We got to spice this up. This smells amazing. Smells amazing, right? Let's go get some pepper. Let's go get some peppers and spice this up. All right, so let's walk through here. We got our squash section, one of our squash sections. All right, let's walk through here, and we got all type of stuff growing, right? All right, let's see. Where are? Oh, right there. There they are, right here. Okay, so we got some Hungarian wax peppers that are ripe and ready to come off the vines. Some of this stuff grows a little weird, but this has to come off. All right, so if this is going to produce more peppers, we got to take the stuff that the pepper is giving so much energy to. And this is beautiful. For Hungarian wax peppers, this is more on the spicy end. If you harvest them earlier when they're yellow, they're not as spicy, or when they're green, they're not as spicy, but this is going to be a little bit more spicy, which I'm okay with. But inside this squash right here, we got some more Hungarian wax pepper. So we want to take these off, and you see what's going on? Let's take some of these off. These ones that are getting more ripe. All right. So we got some Hungarian wax peppers. I think that's enough for this morning. All right, because I don't think I need more than that, but this is going to do a little bit. All right, but we got plenty more growing on. So much more spicy hot peppers. I'd rather throw the Hungarian wax peppers with my breakfast than the ghost peppers or the California Reapers, right? More wood that I'm going to get ready to cut up, throw it in my fire. But let's check on the food here. So we got some fresh peppers that I just picked. All right, we're going to throw that with the sweet peppers, okay? And that's how we're doing it. All right, so let's go back on the tripod, right? All right. All right, can't wait to see how it comes out. Carolina Reapers or real hot, they taste good. I cooked them with, my name is William Harder. It is better than it is. Okay, what's going on, William? All right, William, you got it. Okay, I'm not going to spell out the rest of your name, man. We're not spelling out letters here. But yeah, no, I appreciate that. The California Reapers and the ghost peppers. I have maybe about 8 to 10 hot peppers, like not quantity, but different varieties of hot peppers. I have like 8 to 10 varieties of hot peppers growing in the backyard here. So like Thai hot, ancho peppers, Hungarian wax peppers, jalapeno peppers, Hungarian wax peppers, ghost peppers, California Reapers, poblano peppers. We have so many hot peppers growing, but we also grow bell peppers. So I got all the bell peppers way in the backyard. All right, where we got more space and stuff back there. But it's time to go in with some of the onions. All right, so it's onion time. So let's go in with some onions before we start cutting up these hot peppers. Because the hot peppers, I'm not going to cook everything with the hot peppers. Although I could. We're going to see how quickly we can get these hot peppers cut up. Because I want to preserve some of the seeds. Because I'm able to grow some of this stuff and then continue to grow it year after year because I preserve seeds. So these right here, these hot peppers are Hungarian wax peppers. They're closer to like jalapenos with capsaicin, like how spicy they are. They're closer to like jalapenos. They're not like ghost peppers or California Reapers and such. So they're not the spiciest peppers in the world. So I'm okay with throwing it in my breakfast burrito. You know, I'm not looking for, you know, trying to poop out heat. You know, I don't want it coming. I don't want it going down feeling like the same way. I don't want it coming out the same way it felt like when it went down. So I don't want to eat California Reapers and ghost peppers and California Reapers. I don't want to eat them fresh. That's not my thing. You know, if that's your thing, that's your thing. I'm not knocking you, but I'm not out here just casually eating California Reapers and ghost peppers. That's not that's not what I'm doing. I've done it, which is why I don't want to do it again. You know, I like my bowels and bowel movements just the way that they are. You know, if something is spicy, I'd rather not come out feeling just as spicy as it went down. And I just think certain peppers have too much capsaicin, and it's just not meant for us to be eating just fresh like that. Just casually throwing down a whole ghost pepper or a whole California Reaper. Some of those peppers are like cultivated, and it's not natural for them to be that spicy. So it's just our bodies just can't handle all that heat and capsaicin. So we just shouldn't be doing that. It's funny to watch people eat it and watch them struggling and, you know, in pain and so on and so forth, and people do it for shits and giggles. But yeah, I did it for, you know, I did it for free for years, doing it on Instagram, eating, you know, ghost peppers. Yo, watch me eat this California Reaper, watch me eat this Hungarian wax pepper, and I'm just like, I'm not doing it again. I'm not doing it again. I did it for free. Now granted, we can be on you know, doing it and monetizing it, but I don't think it's worth the money putting my body through that. So that's not what we're doing. I'd rather just do what I'm doing right now. We got Hungarian wax pepper, nice 60-day crop. So from start to finish, you know, you putting the seed in the dirt, germinating the seed, and producing a pepper, 60 days. And I want to separate the seeds. So right here, I got all bell pepper seeds. Right here, I have Hungarian wax pepper seeds. So I want to make sure I separate the seeds because we don't want cross-pollination, right? So where I'm growing spicy peppers, I tend not to want to grow the peppers that are not spicy. So spicy and mild peppers, I don't want to grow in the same section because you can and will get cross-pollination, and then some of your peppers that are supposed to be mild or sweet turn out being spicy. And that's not what you want to do. You want spicy where you want spicy. You want mild and sweet where you want mild and sweet, right? All right. But the wife makes a lot of hot sauce, and the best hot sauce I ever had in my life, my wife made it. Picture that, right? The best hot sauce I ever had in my life, my wife made it. So I want to keep that tradition going, and I'm going to see if I can talk her into making me a bunch of bottles of hot sauce that'll last me until next year, until we start making more hot sauce. So I'll see if I can talk her into that, because she did her thing, and she started making all that hot sauce. She spoiled me. Unfiltered, super tasty, flavorful, seasoned hot sauce made from fresh ingredients from our own backyard, like the whole thing. Onions, peppers, everything, the garlic, everything was made from our yard, and she nailed it. So I'm gonna see if I can talk her into doing that for me again, if she could find the time. All right, so we got some spicy pepper right there. So let's chop this one up too. We got a little one. Make sure we keep stirring our veggies here, and we got to check on the fire because we don't have a lot of heat. This is hot, it's still going, but I don't see a lot of heat coming off and trying to burn our meat and such. So we got to check inside that firebox and make sure what's going on is what we need to be going on. All right, so we got coals in there. That wood is starting to burn, but I think I want to add some more flame in there just to get that wood burning a little bit hotter. All right, so we're gonna cut this pepper real quick, and this Hungarian wax pepper don't even have any seeds in it, so it's all good. So we'll just get Hungarian wax pepper. And I think I want to taste a piece of this fresh. It didn't even have any seeds in it, so this one was a real immature one, although it turned colors. And the Hungarian wax peppers don't usually turn colors until they're like super ripe or spicy. So we got Hungarian wax pepper right here. I'm gonna taste a piece of this, right? See that right there? I'm gonna taste a piece of that and see how spicy it is. So it's nice and orange, and this will eventually turn red. So let's see. Let's see how spicy it is. Okay. All right. It don't matter if the pepper has seeds or not. When they start turning colors like that, and the description tells you Hungarian wax peppers, something like that. Once it turns from green to yellow to orange and it starts to turn red, it starts to get hotter as you let it turn color. Believe it. That's up there. And it had 0 seeds in it, but that's up there. Okay. I'll get over it, but it's up there. But I'm going to spread that out in my burritos, so it's all good. It's not like I'm, excuse me. It's not like I'm going to be eating it all like that, how I just ate that piece. It's going to be evenly distributed throughout my food. So let's keep chopping, right? The smaller pieces, the better, right? So it'll be evenly distributed, but I like spicy. I mean, that's a lot of spice in one bite, but I still like my spice. But I want to save my seeds, and I'm going to, excuse me. I definitely want to keep the spicy seeds away from the mild seeds. So I know my spicy's on it. My spicy's on this end, and my mild is on this end next to the onion. Okay, it's spicy. And y'all see me pick it out the garden. And that's the mildest of the spicy peppers that I'm growing. The mildest. Maybe jalapeno. So between jalapeno, Hungarian wax peppers, and maybe the ancho peppers are the mildest, I'm thinking. Because I got a lot more, you know, some Scotch bonnets. We got a lot of hot peppers growing. And this is milder end. So it is what it is. This little funky looking one, I'm debating whether I should throw this one right here. This one looks a little funky, right? A little funky looking pepper. I'm still gonna eat it, but I don't need to throw that in breakfast. Maybe I'll throw that in like a lunch or something. You know, I'm gonna take lunch to work. I already made some baked ziti last night on the wood burning stove, so maybe I'll throw this in one of my bowls with the baked ziti, and then like take a bite of baked ziti, and then take a bite of this, and then eat my lunch like that. All right, so that's what I'm debating. So we're not gonna throw this in our breakfast. All right, but let's check on. Hold up. Our hardwood is lit. Our hardwood is glowing pretty good, so we're gonna close this door now. We got enough oxygen in there that wood is lit, and we're cooking how we need to be cooking now. If y'all can hear that, now we're starting to get a little bit of browning. The meat is in there. The onions are in there. All right, now it's good to go in with the peppers. Now it's time for the peppers. Again, I don't prefer to go in with the peppers the same time. Most people like to go in with the peppers like same time onions and peppers. I don't do onions and peppers the same time most of the time. I prefer to throw the onions in first. It doesn't happen all the time, but if I have everything prepped and I'm good on my timing and stuff, yeah, I won't throw them in the same time. So I'm gonna throw the hot peppers in also. So we got the bell peppers I just threw in, and the Hungarian wax peppers I just threw in just now. So all the peppers just went in, but the onion's been in there. All right, and this is what we're doing right now. So let's mix all this up. Okay, it's looking good. We're gonna make some nice burritos with this right here. No need for hot sauce on my burrito, baby. And no need. We do not need hot sauce on this burrito. We got hot peppers that are going to be on the inside. Now we got some beautiful color. Okay. This is not your regular degular green bell pepper, the cheapest bell pepper in the grocery store that we cooking with. So we have some orange bell pepper, orange sweet bell pepper, and then I threw in some orange Hungarian wax pepper. So we got some yellow onion, some Hungarian wax pepper, some orange bell pepper. We got some ham, and then we getting ready to scramble up the eggs next. So once this is done, I'll just take this off, this completely off, sit to the side, and we're gonna throw the cast iron pan on next, let that heat up some, and then we're gonna do scramble the eggs and do the eggs. The eggs are gonna go on, and I wanna make sure I don't overcook the eggs. And that's how we do it. Last, probably while we're eating some of those burritos, I'm gonna fry up some plantains. So we're gonna do the plantains last because the plantains are really ancillary. You know, it's not an essential part of this burrito. But we are putting the burrito ingredients first, paramount, right? Because we got to make the burrito. Let's check on this flame. Make sure we got enough fire on this flame right here. My door's open again. It's hardwood. It's lit, and we got a flame on there. It's just taking a little bit. It's just taking a little bit. You know, this hardwood looks like it wants a little bit more oxygen right now. Now it's lit. Like I said, it's definitely lit. We got coals under there. It's definitely lit. And we'll do what we need to do just to make sure that we're getting more heat when we need it. And I can hear the pan, the sizzling in the pan is starting to pick up as soon as I open up the door, for sure. But we're definitely losing heat coming out the front of there. The heat is emanating out the front, so we're losing heat, but we're getting heat, more heat right now under this pan. Now the flame is starting to pick up. I don't know if you can see it, you know. In the daytime, it's harder to see. But let's check the comments. Let's see what we're talking about. All right. Let's see. Can't wait to see how it comes out. All right. James Stansell said hi. What's going on? I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Hit that like and subscribe button. We just making breakfast outside. That's all. All right. Let's get a little close up. All right, so you see the fire. Fire is going. The fire is going. And if y'all can hear, you hear stuff is sizzling, right? Stuff is sizzling. It's doing its thing. Stuff is sizzling. All right, it's cooking. Don't get me wrong. The food is cooking. And like I said, we're not using a rocket stove right now. So I shelved the rocket stove this morning. I cooked with it. I cooked with the rocket stove last night. We made some baked ziti between the rocket stove and this tent stove. We made baked ziti last night and it came out amazing. The baked ziti, we're going to be eating baked ziti for leftovers. And the baked ziti came out amazing last night cooking on this, on the tent stove, the rocket stove. And then I finished it off on that traditional charcoal grill back there. But yeah, it came out great, came out amazing. I recommend it if you do it how I did it. So when it came time for the oven part, because you don't see ovens out here, right? But I use that grill right there, that traditional grill right there. I use that to melt the cheese and finish it off like an oven. I dumped the wood. So we had coals left in here. After I finished cooking the meat and everything, we had coals left off in here. And I dumped the coals from here into our traditional grill right there. And then finished it off and melted the cheese. And it was so ooey gooey, cheesy, and great. And that thing's in the refrigerator, and I can't wait to get back to that baked ziti that I made last night. We did that. All right, but we are going. Look at that. Okay, and we cooking for free. You see all that wood right there? We cooking for free. We are cooking for the free. All this free wood right here. All I did, you know, all I had to do was process it. I got it all for free. All I had to do was process the wood, right? All this wood right here. All I had to do was process the wood, and then we started cooking for free. Bingo, bam, wham. Talk about it. All right, so our flame is lit. As you can see, the flame is going, the flame is lit. I'm just trying to keep enough airflow in there where I can shut that door because I don't want that smoke. I don't want that smoke in my face. All right, so we're gonna check on that damper. We're gonna check on the other damper and then close up that door so that we can get it going because we need to keep it going so we can get them plantains going, right? So we're going back on the tripod. back on the tripod, right? Okay. And let's check the dampers. We got to double check the dampers. All right, so the damper up here looks like it needs to be open a little bit more. Boom. Open up that damper fully. That damper needs to be open. And then our fire is lit right there. So let's close this up and make sure if we close this door, these front dampers are open. So we need that flowing good. As long as it's flowing good, I should be able to keep the door closed and this front damper is fully open. This damper right here is fully open. We should get good airflow and we should be able to cook amazingly. And we're doing good. Beautiful flavors. Oh my goodness. Beautiful spring flavors. Beautiful spring colors. Oh, this looks great. This looks great right here. This is about done. Damn. That's a lot of smoke right there coming out of there. As soon as I open up them dampers fully, right? Maybe that would 100% fully and for sure, but it's drying out right now. I just don't want to be in the way of that smoke. That smoke is yeah. I don't want to be in the way of that smoke, but we cooking still. That smoke started kicking my behind, right? But this is not an indoor wood burning stove. If this was an indoor wood burning stove, I wouldn't even be burning this type of wood right now. I would make sure the wood is way more seasoned. Even if I had to pay for it to be seasoned and wait another year for the wood that I already had to get fully seasoned, I would wait. But because I'm cooking outdoors, I'm not worrying about this flue catching like a flame from all the resin and whatever buildup and stuff. So I'm not worried about that right now outdoors. I got my hose right here for anybody that's like, this guy's gonna cause a neighborhood fire. You see that? I got water ready. So we are safe. Anything that needs to be hosed down, and we're not creating fires out here. Before and after, hose it down. Before and after, hose it down. All right, that's what we're doing. We're being safe. We're cooking outdoors, we're being safe, but we cooking on our wood burning stove when we cooking with free wood. All right. All right, so this is done. This is done. Just so y'all know. All right, this is done. Our ingredients right here are done. All right, now, all right, if y'all can see that good, our ingredients right there are done. Look at those spring ingredients. All right, a lot of orange and white and onions and ham and hot peppers, sweet peppers. This is done. All right, so I'm gonna move my cutting board right here and let this sit on the wood. Pause. All right, and then we're gonna go on with our cast iron pan now because we have plenty of hardwood in there. Let's go on with our cast iron pan and let's heat up our cast iron pan. And that's heating up in the sun already. This handle's like damn near hot enough to where I can't even hardly touch it already just from the sun. So that's a nice preheat just from the sun. All right, and we're just cooking scrambled eggs in here. So I'm time to scramble our eggs, and and this is gonna be quick. The scrambled eggs is gonna be real quick, real quick. We ain't playing with it. We are not playing with the scrambled eggs because I do not do burnt scrambled eggs, and more importantly, the wife and kids do not do burnt scrambled eggs. I have to go back to the drawing board and start a whole batch over. I don't care if I cook 12 eggs, scramble them up. If they got some brownness in them, family won't take it. Back to the drawing board, got to start over because the kids won't eat it. So they are very picky. Kids are picky. Kids are picky. I'll eat it. I don't mind. But the kids, man, kids are picky. If you can relate, put it in the comments about your picky kids. You might have to make a different meal, a different something for each individual kid just to get the kids to eat. All right, some people ain't with it, but my kids are stubborn, ain't they? Maybe entitled, maybe privileged. I don't know, whatever name you want to put on it, but yeah, I got kids where it's like I might have to make an individual meal for each of them every time I have to, cook. Like for dinner, she wants this. he wants that, she wants this. I got 2 girls and 1 boy. And I might have to make something different for all of them. Whew, parenting, right? Somebody in the comments might be like, what? What? What are you talking about? If you ain't got kids, you might not know what I'm talking about. But if you got kids, you know what I'm talking about. If you got numerous kids, you definitely know what I'm talking about. All right, so get ready to do the eggs. Where my gloves at, man? I don't want to be all cross-contaminating everything if I don't have to. So I'm gonna throw my gloves on right now. We're gonna crack these eggs. We're gonna scramble these eggs while this pan, this cast iron pan, is heating up. So we're getting a preheat on this pan right here. And it's hot outside, man. It's down at 90 degrees right now. All right. Granted, I waited till closer towards the hottest point of the day to start cooking, but I was out here 6 in the morning out here in the garden. So right when I was out here, and I know I was going to be spending like 4 hours in the garden, trellising tomatoes, propping up tomatoes, harvesting certain things, trimming tomatoes and such. I know I needed to come out here really early when it was still cool. Now the cooking, the cooking is optional. I don't have to cook outside, but I prefer to cook outside. But also, I can be under the umbrella. Also, I can bring out my tent, my outdoor tent. I just can't cook in it. All right, so I would have to come outside the tent to start cooking. But right now, I got the camera under the umbrella. But when I'm cooking, I got to cook in the sun. So either way, I got to deal with the sun. So it is what it is. I don't mind it. But let's get these eggs underway. We're going to bust up these eggs. Let's get these scrambled eggs going. All right. Come outside, clean it up later. All right. Let's get these eggs, scrambled eggs going. All right, that's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 eggs. All right, 8 eggs, and then we're gonna hit it with the whisk. Oh, I got this little whisk right here. 8 eggs. And I'll tell you a little story. So my wife and I, we got this little whisk right here. You see this little whisk? Look, this is a mini whisk. It's my daughter's whisk. We got her a little cook set. And this whisk is actually a little bit more efficient for cooking, for scrambling eggs in a little bowl like this. But my daughter, she gets so mad if she sees us using this little whisk, and she will tell us off and tell us like, you did not ask to use my whisk, and I will not let you use my whisk again. Even if you ask for it, I won't let you use it. You didn't ask me to use it. And she will tell us off for touching her little whisk. And my baby my baby does not like us using her stuff without asking her. So I gotta ask permission to use this little baby whisk to cook this breakfast. All right, because my baby don't like that. She got her little cook set. She got her little spatula. She got a whole setup. We got her whole setup. She like to cook. My baby like to cook, but she don't like if I come out here, use her little whisk, which, like I said, this is the most, like, this little whisk right here is actually more sturdy than the ones at the stores. So I can't like bend the little tongs on it, the little tines. I think we call them tines. I can't really bend them, but this little whisk right here that they make for the kids is actually better made than the ones from the grocery store or the ones from whatever store you might get your whisk from. And this one actually held up the longest. All my other whisks, I keep throwing them away and trying to find like a really good whisk. If anybody knows of a really good whisk, let me know what company. But I'm down to my little daughter's whisk, and she cusses me out. So I have to actually sneak the whisk outside to use it, hide it when I come back in the house, wash it, and then put it back where I got it from, because she gonna give me hell about this little whisk. But I like using it. It's efficient, it's good, it fits in little bowls like this, and I don't have to worry about the whisk bending all up and doing stuff it's not supposed to do. And this whisk just holds up. It's been holding up over time. So I like my daughter's little toy whisk, which it's made of steel, but my daughter, yeah. If she could right now and she knew, she'll come outside and cuss me out right on camera, right about it, and let y'all know, like, don't ever touch my whisk again. And you better ask. If you even thinking about touching my whisk, you better ask me. And she's 6. This is a 6-year-old telling me this. So we got to, I mean, I got to do what I got to do. Maybe we need to rein that in, but yeah, she'll tell me off. If it's hers and we told her it's hers and it's only hers and she knows it's only hers, like, this is your set, because that's where we mess up at, telling her it's yours. If I say, look, we have some tools and you could use them, then she'll be cool. But if I told her, like, this is your set, this is your cooking set, she expects it to be hers. Like, you told me it was mine. Why are you using my stuff without asking me for permission? And she's right. She's right. She's right about that. So I can't knock that. I can't complain. But she don't play about her stuff. She does not. I think we good to go in, because I don't need immense. Ooh, make sure that door closes up. We don't need immense heat for the scrambled eggs. Now, what I do need is an oven mitt, because when it's ready to come off, I don't want that sitting in the pan any longer than it needs to. So I'm going to go get my oven mitt before I fully commit to throwing this scrambled eggs in this pan. So I'm going to put this scrambled eggs right here. And I got a wooden spoon right here. We're going to cook with a wooden spoon, but I definitely want my oven mitt for when this is ready to come on, because I'm not playing games with these eggs. All right. So let me get my oven mitt. And let me know, what are y'all eating this afternoon? What did y'all have for breakfast? Would y'all cook this differently? And how do you feel about cooking outdoors on a wood burning stove? Does the temperature have to be within a certain ideal range for you to be comfortable cooking outside? Because once it starts getting super cold, I'm going to get a hot tent. I got a couple tents, but I'm going to get a hot tent, and we're going to cook outside in the hot tent. All right? And we're going to cook and keep it going. All right, so open the door, baby. Hold on a second. All right. Yeah. It's chaos in the house. Yeah. It's full swing in the house. Kids are up and having their way. I don't know if y'all heard that, but yeah. Kids are doing their thing, having their way. Okay. All right. So I got an oven mitt. I only need one. I only need one out here before I put this scrambled eggs in here. All right. So we're getting ready to go in with the scrambled eggs, and I want to be very quick and precise with the pepper and salt. All right. So I'm gonna go in with the pepper first. I'm gonna hit it with the pepper inside the bowl. All right, but I'm gonna salt it after it goes inside. So I know how much pepper I want on the outside. All right, here we go. We're getting ready to go into the pan, and this pan is hot. This pan is hot, so I don't want to play games. Don't want to play games. Make sure we're nice and oiled everywhere. On the perimeters, the little outside perimeters where the egg might hit, we got plenty of oil, and we're going in. All right, let's go. There we go. Let's hit it with the salt. That's enough salt. All right, and we got the big thing with the scrambled eggs, man. You gotta keep it moving. Gotta keep it moving, or else you're gonna get burnt eggs. We doing all right so far. I should probably bring y'all closer. Let's see if we can bring this camera closer. All right. So we going in with this, we in, not going in, but we're in with the scrambled eggs. All right. We gotta keep it moving so we don't get brownness. All right. We don't want the eggs all burnt and brown, but we don't want to undercook them. We want to make sure the eggs are cooked. And you see how it's not sticking? All that stuff that's not sticking, this is a beautifully seasoned cast iron pan. All right, all my cast iron pans are seasoned like this. All right, non-stick surface, natural non-stick. This, I didn't buy a non-stick pan. This is a cast iron pan that should last you your whole life, your kids. You should be able to pass this down to the kids and so on and so forth. So treat your pans good, take care of your pans, and your pan should take care of you. All right, so we're getting ready to come off with this, and this will continue cooking while it's on my plate. All right, so I'm getting ready to put it on the plate here. Oh, I'm not gonna be able to stick that plate there. All right, let's put this up. I don't know what y'all can see. All right. Whoa. All right, so we're going on top of that plate right now because this has to come off the pan now. And this is a heavy pan, so I can't keep holding this with one hand. I only have one oven mitt out here, so it is what it is. All right, but as you can see, non-stick surface. This is good. And I'll put this pan back on the flame. Why? Because I'm going to put my burritos on there when it comes time to brown my burritos. But I'm going to close up the dampers. All right, so let's move this camera back. And we're going to close up the dampers because we don't need as much heat anymore. All right, so let's get this camera set up right. All right, and then we're going to close up those dampers. So let's start to close up those dampers so that we can lower the heat so that we can make our burritos. Because there's too much heat on these burritos. So close up this damper. Boom. That's pretty closed. If I need to close it more, I'll close it more. But the damper is pretty much closed. And then this damper, we're gonna close it a little bit more. It's closed up like 3/4 right now. If we can close it up a little bit more, we will. This front damper, because right here, yeah, this is fully closed. So right here, fully open. Right here, fully closed, as much as it'll close. It's still getting some airflow because you don't want to put out the fire, but it's getting very little. I just want to be able to reduce the heat so that we can make our burritos and just sear our burritos and not burn them. All right, while we do the prep work. Okay. So I'm tempted to put the oil on it, and while I have that, let me see. While we have plenty of hardwood burning, that's what we'll do. In fact, we're gonna switch it up. Let's open back our dampers. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna switch it up. We're gonna open back our dampers, and we're gonna do the plantains right now while we still got plenty of hardwood burning, and then we're gonna come back and do our searing on our burritos. All right, because we're doing just light heating up, light searing, and just melting the cheese on the burritos. But we need heat to do our plantains. So we're gonna take this pan off right here. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna take this pan off, put some of this wood to the side, right? We're gonna take off this cast iron pan right here. It's a heavy 12-inch cast iron pan. I need a better way to handle that. I should have brought out 2 oven mitts. All right, and now we're gonna go in with our oil. While that's cooling a little bit because the pan is too hot, it's gonna start to burn our burritos too quick. We got an empty pan right here. All right, so empty pan. All right, and we store our empty pan on there, or empty pot, should I say? It's an empty pot. And then let's cut up our plantain. All right, so we're gonna put the oil in there. Make sure we got our oil. We're gonna fry a little bit of plantain right there. And we only got 1 plantain, so I don't need too much oil. All right, I brought another one just in case, but we don't need too much oil. We're only frying 1 plantain. Okay. And while this oil is heating up, I'll put the lid on it so nothing, potentially nothing flies in there. But let's prep our plantains, and then we're going to start prepping our burritos with our ingredients. All right, now that our ingredients are fully cooked, and then we just got to put the cheese in and then just grate the cheese in there. Okay, so I still have my cutting board right here. This pan is kind of cooled down. I'm gonna put this pan on top of the other pan, get this out the way, and let's cut our plantain. Right, we got our knife right here. Let's cut this plantain, get it going. So I'm doing burritos and a plantain. You call this maybe like a Spanish or Hispanic style meal. I don't know what you want to call it. Whatever you want to call this, man. We're doing breakfast burritos and plantains. I don't know what style, what country you want to call this, what I'm doing. We're going to throw some cheese in there. We got the meat and veggies and everything in there. And then right now, bang, bang, bang. Plants are cut. Super simple. We're not trying to complicate this. All right. You just want to heat up the oil and then prepare for dunking in these plantains, because these plantains are going to get dunked, boom, all at one time. We're not playing. And then take them out. After that, we're going to throw our cast iron pan back on here and then sear off our ingredients. So I'm going to use my plate now. Where'd that plate go? We're going to use our plate now to make our burritos for the finished product. Okay, so I should probably bring out another pan, another bowl or something, or we're gonna have to get rid of, we're gonna have to get rid of the stuff on top of that cutting board, because we need space to be able to make our burritos. So I'll actually throw my plantains on this plate right here. It's uncooked, but we're not dealing with raw stuff. So these plantains, technically, they can be eaten like this. Now, we prefer them cooked or fried or baked or whatever you want to call it, but it can be eaten fresh. So there's no risk of cross-contamination right there. But I just want to make sure these seeds get separated. So the seeds from the Hungarian wax peppers, I'm going to throw in this box. I got a box that I'll use for my disposable gloves. So I'll take this and put my seeds from Hungarian wax peppers in here for now. All right. And the other stuff, I'm actually going to go throw it directly in my compost bin. All right. And then I'll mix it after this video. So I'm going to throw it right on top, and then I'll mix it after this video, my compost. So I got a lot more compost I got to put in there. But yeah, just throw this right on top. And like I said, I'm not somebody who's not willing to throw seeds in my compost bin. All right. So I went to a compost class. If anybody's familiar or not familiar, I took a compost class at Rutgers University, and inside, while taking that class, they were like, well, they don't recommend putting seeds in your compost, which I get it. All right. If you want to grow stuff and you want stuff to grow, the way you want it to grow, and you want to be intentional about everything that you grow, if you put seeds in your compost, you can get pop-up stuff, volunteers, and so on and so forth. But if you don't mind, and maybe your growing methods may not be doing the best, you may get animals eating stuff. If you have extra stuff and you have volunteers here and there, you'll get more food than you intended to grow, and it can supplement some of the stuff that gets eaten by wildlife. So that's something that I've come to, be okay with, and I've come to terms with dealing with volunteers. So I've had years where I got more food from volunteer plants than I did from stuff that I intentionally planted. So imagine that. So I just don't want to be very I don't want to be dismissive of volunteer plants. All right, because they're not always a bad thing. Now, if they're weeds, I get it. You know, you don't want a ton of weeds that you don't want there. But if you're getting like I've gotten a bunch of squash. Like I've eaten squash throughout the year, throughout the winter, and then when I put down a bunch of compost, so I go like early spring, like early winter, early spring, or late winter, early spring, and I start adding a bunch of compost into my rows and beds and stuff, and like squash seeds that I grew, or squash seeds and stuff that we chopped up squash and it went into compost. The scraps went into the compost, or peppers or tomatoes and stuff. It starts popping up in the garden, and then it starts growing, and then we start getting free butternut squash, free tomatoes, free peppers, free this, free that. It's hard to argue that volunteer seeds are a bad thing, or just don't put seeds in your compost because it's just bad. But you need to understand, like, somebody telling you something and you adopting their ideology or dogma. Why? It's bad. Why? And you want to understand why. Oh, you might get something that you didn't want. Okay. Free squash. All right. If I get 100 free squash, is that bad? It stands to reason. All right. So that's something that I dealt with. I got a bunch of free squash, and I got more food in pounds from volunteers than I did from stuff that I intentionally planted. And I don't see that as a downfall. Now, granted, you might want to be particular with where you put your compost to add seeds in it if you don't want stuff popping up. But overall, I love it. All right, so here's what we're gonna do. Let's test out one of these plantains and see if this oil is heated up enough. It's getting hot. It's not heated up where it should be. Where it should be yet. All right, so let's check the comments and see where we're at. All right, let's see what we're talking about. Can't wait to see how it comes out. All right. Not just free, tasty as hell too. Yeah, nothing like real fire cooking for sure. Token pirate raccoon, man. Definitely, man. I'm all for the free cooking. All right. As you see, I just threw a plantain in there. All right. It's not coming to a full boil, but it's doing something. All right. It's definitely starting to boil, but we know it didn't come to temp fully. All right. Bamboo whisk is the goat for eggs. Bamboo whisk. Okay, I'll have to try that out. I don't know about bamboo whisk yet. All right. I get my eggs for free because I have chickens. I definitely want to do livestock. I don't have livestock yet, but I definitely want to do livestock, man. I've been doing a lot of gardening and producing food and vegetables like that. All right. We're going to be doing canning, like tomato canning and stuff for the first time this year. Like fully committed to canning and stuff. All right. Best way to raise a garden is to get black plastic and cut round holes in it for your plants and stuff it. It keeps the weeds from growing and it holds moisture in the ground around your plants. Country Boy Outdoors. If you are still in this live chat, man, Country Boy Outdoors, I want you to take a look at what I got growing on back there. All that stuff is under black plastic. If you know, all right, all that stuff is under black plastic, and you see all those trellises back there. If you are still on this chat, let me know. Tap in. All right. All that stuff growing back there, all those peppers and tomatoes is all under black plastic. All right, the poly cover. All right, that's all poly cover back there. There's no weeds within all that stuff, but there's at least 100 and something tomatoes and peppers right there. But I'm also big on back to Eden gardening. Country Boy Outdoors said, yeah. All right, so I'm doing different methods just to see what I like best. So I'm big on the back to Eden garden method where it's all wood chips, and under that poly cover is a base of back to Eden garden and wood chips that's been breaking down for maybe about 5 or 6 years. So it's all basically wood chips, but I need to keep topping it off. But this year I did, if you can see it, you can see the poly cover a little bit, and there's a ton of tomatoes. You see all the stakes that I put into the ground back there for trellising. I went out there this morning and did a bunch of twine and just to keep everything upright. All right, but over here, this food forest right here, everything is still a base of wood chips. So I got to come in and redo re-administer the wood chips here. All right, but you can see a bunch of fruit trees, you know, apples, plums, pears, cherries, a bunch of stuff that I'm doing. All right, and I have over 40 fruit trees and growing, and we got, you know, squash, kale, you know, cabbage. We got all types of stuff growing back here. I just need to clean it up a little bit, and I'm getting ready to clean up these aisles. So after I'm done cooking, I'm gonna come out here and do my thing in this part of the backyard and clean up stuff, because you see like the cabbage, kale, so on and so forth. We got a bunch of onions. There's so much stuff growing on, man. And I got stuff in the front yard. So too much to talk about. This live is not for that. We gotta check on the food, and let's check on these plantains right here, because this one's cooking. So we're getting ready to come in with some more. Let's grab a handful of these, drop them in. All right, they starting to boil. They starting to cook. They starting to fry. All right, another handful coming in. We're going in with all of them. Now it's just me. It's just me this morning that's eating these, so I don't mind. I don't need to fill up a big pan of this. All right, so all our plantains are in here. All right, all the plantains are in. They're cooking. And you can see that one floating toward the top is the one that I had in first. So make sure we keep our tongs out here, flip them over as we see fit. And you can see it cooking. We're cooking on our wood burning stove. Let's check on the fire. Fire's still going, but we down to mostly coals right there, but fire's still going. We don't need a ton more, but this can stand to take another piece of wood just to finish off this and cook it at a high enough heat. So I'm thinking about putting another piece of wood in there. But yeah, as you can see, our plantains are going. Plantains are going. All right. So you know it's cooking. You know it's doing this thing. We don't have to have another piece of wood, but it would go a lot smoother if I put another piece in. So that's what I'm gonna do. So we're gonna go back on the tripod and we're gonna throw another piece of wood in there. Okay. All right, so let's do it. Let's finish up. We gotta finish up, and then we gotta make our burritos. All right, so I definitely need my hands for making these burritos, right? Okay. Another piece of wood going there. What piece we gonna put in there? That's good. Not too big of a piece in there. That's a nice one. This piece. Better coals. You don't need to go too crazy. We'll see how long it takes for that to catch fire. Let's see. Got the rain on the outside, but I gotta be careful to close that door. We got a nice bed of coals. Just want a little bit more heat on this flame. A little bit more heat on this, and this is good to go. We only cook in one batch. After we cook that one batch, we go on there with the cast iron pan, and I don't want that much heat. So that's why I'm not putting too much oil in there. So after this comes off and it finishes frying, I'm going back on there. We got 12-inch cast iron skillet just to brown our burritos. And I don't want too much heat. I'm trying to brown our burritos. Granted, I'll dampen it down, but right now we got dampers fully open. Damper up here, damper down here fully open, and we trying to. Oh, look at that! Flame kicked up. Flame on. Look at that. We got a nice amount of heat. This thing is kicking up. They're starting to fry more. And we'll be doing with this plantain in no time. We're definitely going to keep an eye on it. This stuff's not burning, but that plantain is really good. Nice plantain. And we're going to be able to make our burritos. Okay? Let me know. Y'all do things differently? You know? How do y'all do your plantains? My wife, she likes to do plantains in the toaster oven. It's healthier. This morning, I'm cooking just for me. I said, man, I'm frying mine. I ain't gonna fry it. Alright? My wife likes to go to the plantains are black. For the most part, black on the outside. And then she throw them in the toaster oven, cook them in the toaster oven. She likes it that way. For me, this morning, yeah, I took a yellow plantain with a little bit of black spots here and there. We're going for I want to call it the traditional way, information, yes. And then how we make the style we make the plantains like. We got a little bit more heat coming from off of there. Let's start making these burritos. All the raw ingredients are cooked. So now it's time for us to start making the burritos. Raw ingredients are cooked. Let's go. It's go time. Got one from the previous pack. We gotta grate our cheese. The cheese been sitting outside, so it's on the grater. That's what I forgot. Gotta get the grater. Alright, so we got sharp cheddar cheese. I'm making my burritos with sharp cheddar cheese. And I gotta get my grater. Rolling fry on there. But we definitely have to go get our grater so that we can grate this cheddar cheese here, because we're not going to get good burritos unless we got that cheddar cheese going. All right, so our plantains are growing. It's cooking. It's doing its thing. Not too hot, those things will be burning pretty quick, and I think we need to really kind of gauge like a really good consistent temperature for the best plantains, because I don't undercook them and they don't come out that great. I don't overcook them, meaning like I don't cook them with too high a temperature and they don't come out that great. But a nice consistent fry on them and coming out where it's like they're not super hard and burnt tasting, but they're also not undercooked and needing more fry, and they're not all like soaked with oil because they were cooked with too low of a temperature. So I think that's a skill in and of itself, being able to cook plantains at a proper temperature and get a nice fry on there. All right, let's check this. We got a nice piece of wood in there. All right, I think we're going good. Both of our dampers are open fully, and I'm debating whether I should put another piece in there, depending on how hard I want to fry this. I don't think so. I don't think I need another piece. I think it's going okay. We got a nice consistent fry on there, and no signs of it slowing down. All right. This looks okay. I can hear the fry on it, so I think that's sufficient enough. Let me know what y'all think. Do I need more heat on this? Or this is a pretty decent, consistent temperature to fry plantains? So I don't think we need like a rolling boil, like this thing is like wanting to overflow because how hot it is. I don't think that's not what we need to be doing. All right, we're just checking it, flipping it every so often, make sure we're not getting any burning or anything like that. I think we're good to go. So we got a little bit of browning on this one, on that one piece. That piece right there. Got a little bit of browning on that piece. I think that's a good sign. Once I start getting some decent browning, I'm ready to come out with them. All right, and that's how we looking right now. We just cooking those plantains. We have our ingredients for our burritos. All right, we got our scrambled eggs. Okay, we got our pan with the meat and the peppers right there, spicy peppers, sweet peppers, the ham. And we're gonna combine those ingredients, but we got to go get our cheese grater. Okay, so while this is cooking right here, I'm gonna go get my cheese grater. This is looking good, and while this needs a few more minutes, I'm going to go get my cheese grater and then grate this cheese and then get ready to make my burritos. All right, so that's what's going on. All right, I know what y'all eating for brunch, for dinner today. although closed up. Hopefully we'll get some halfway decent rating on this. Let's go. So we got our meat and veggies. I'm gonna put a little bit of egg in here. Not too much. Don't want to be too crazy. We still want to be able to close up these burritos. It's still going to be a hefty burrito. Sure. Awesome. One done. I'm sticking up here. What we could do is a little bit more temperature. A little bit more. A little bit more temperature. Just a little bit more. I don't need too much. Just a little bit more. Still learning how to regulate and best cook on this wood burning stove without doing too much. And this is the thing. I know a lot of people have a thing where it's like they have a hard time rolling up a burrito. And I know it takes some technique, it takes some time. It took me some time to be able to get this down, but a lot of people have trouble with rolling up a burrito where you got both sides wrapped up. Overly complicated. So we're pretty much going to chop this egg in half here. enough room to get all these burritos on that 12-inch cast iron skillet right there. This is not a completely flat surface. If I had a completely flat surface, it's a little bit smoother. I'm going to get this on varnish. Really soft tortillas too. So you got to use technique. You don't want to tear down tortillas. There we go. Good amount of surface heat to sear, close that burrito. Last one. Right, last little bit of cheese right here. And there's 4 burritos with the ingredients that we made this morning. I'm probably going to only eat one of them, honestly. And maybe I'll take 3 of them for breakfast this morning. Tasty breakfast that I made that I know it still tastes like how I want it to taste. Let's go with the rest of our veggies and ham right here. There we go. Let's go with the rest of our eggs. So we got 4 burritos. That's all we have, that's all we need. So plantains are going to come off. And I think it's going to go on there to finish searing that. Let's chuck the wood in there. I might go in there with one more piece of wood. Bring out a rack. Usually I like a rack for plantains or some type of tissue, something to absorb. Bring it out. It's coming off regardless. It's got to come off. Wait till it gets. Plantains are off, we're good to go. And then we're going back on with our burritos. browning, very light. I got the spatula right there, so when it's ready to come off, I'm just flip it over and then flatten it down. So I like to flatten it down so we get some good surface to kind of seal those burritos. The part where it starts to overlap with the other side. So like say you're rolling over and then you got the end piece. I like to overlap with the other end piece and then get that piece flat on the surface of the pan, kind of flatten that down, let that seal together, and when it locks it in, then you can flip it over. It's a good surface, flatten down a little bit, flatten it down. Spin the jar. How I do it. Let's see what we're talking about. Okay. All right. No comments. All right, so we're looking good. Almost done. Okay. So the plantains are done. Waiting for our burritos to get done. Just letting those get a little bit of searing, a little bit of browning on the other side, and we're good to go. All right. We got one last piece of wood going in there just to sear these off, and we're done. We're out of here. Hit that like and subscribe button. All right. We're letting this pan warm up. All right. So it's not locked in yet. We're starting to get a little bit of heat on the other side of this. Oh. We're starting to get a little heat on the other side of this, but we're just waiting for that to get a little bit of browning, and we're good. Just a little bit. A little bit of browning, but that little bit of browning is also going to be the indication that our cheese is melted, because we want to be able to melt that cheese in there. So we're melting the cheese, and we're locking in that side that's open. You see that open side right there? That's going to lock in. We flatten that down, and that's going to lock on there. All right, I'm not an expert. I just done a lot of cooking, that's all. That's what we're waiting for. So our plantains are done. Our breakfast burritos are made. We made our ingredients. We did our thing, and we're still cooking. Okay? Still got heat coming through there. Our fire is still lit. Our dampers are open. And we just waiting to get a little bit of browning. You see? We got these front dampers right there. So my front dampers are open. When the damper's like this right here, you know, fully vertical like that, damper's open. When I lay it flat, then it's closed. But right now, dampers, the top damper, the flue damper is fully open, and we're getting good airflow. So that heat is going to pretty much emanate and bring us a nice amount of heat to be able to cook what we're cooking right here. And I definitely want to be wary and keep an eye on this right here, because I don't want to burn my burritos. So we're just trying to put enough heat on there to brown them, but we're not trying to really cook them. All right, what's in them are already cooked. We're just trying to brown them. Get a little bit of browning, and we're going from cold. So it's going to take a little bit. We're going from cold. This is a cold cast iron pan. We just put it over the heat, so it's going to take a little bit. But that's it, man. We're finishing this off. We're getting ready to try one of these plantains. We're going to see how did the plantains come out. All right, let's check it. Let's check the plantains. So, breakfast burritos and plantains. What y'all think about that? Let's test out this plantains right here. Tastes pretty sweet. Tastes good. Only thing is, I probably would put it on paper towel or something just to get a little bit more of that oil off there. So when I bring them in the house, I'm going to put them on a paper towel and try to soak up some of that oil, because I prefer not to taste the oil when I eat the plantains. But as far as the cook on them, they're good. They're sweet, they're done, they're cooked. They taste how I would want them if I were to be putting them over top of rice, you know, with some type of meat or beans and bean sauce or whatever. They taste just how I would want them to taste. Now, if I was putting more bean sauce or whatever, I wouldn't even notice them. But if I'm eating by myself, I don't want to taste any oiliness. So I'll bring them in the house, put them over the top of some paper towel, and then put them with my food, and it's going to be great. So, They're cooked good. That's how I like them. They're sweet. Alright, so I'm gonna turn over these burritos. Get this beat on. So I got cheese. So when I was making these, I got cheese coming out like a little bowl. I got a little bowl in one of them. So I got cheese just dripping, oozing out of one of the little bowls. You know, it's not brown yet on the bottom, but it's starting to ooze out of one of the little bowls. That's a good indication right there. All right, let's get a close-up look again. That's how we looking. And you can see right there. If you can tell, you see the cheese starting to ooze out that little hole right there. All right. You see a little bit of cooking in there. A little bit of percolation. All right. Burrito starting to do their thing. But I had a little hole right there. Now it's hot on the other side. I just really need to just turn this over. I don't really need browning. All right, because it's coming from, the pan is coming from cold, I know it's going to be fully hot on the inside. Now, if the pan was already hot, then I would be like, all right, I definitely need that browning, but I don't have to have the browning on this type of pan right now because I'm coming from cold. All right, so there's plenty of heat that emanated through there because the pan was cold. So let's turn this over and see how we do. It's definitely hot on the other side. Ooh. Now that's pretty right there. That's the browning that we're looking for. That's that pretty browning right there. Let's see if we can turn this over and get a little bit of some of that. Because it looks pretty. Even if we're just being vain, that looks pretty right there. That pretty browning right there. Turn that on the other side. Let's check this one up top. This one up top starting to look like something. Ah, yeah, starting to look a little like something. Okay. Starting to look pretty. Let's check that flame. I mean, that flame is doing its thing. Starting to look pretty. Okay. All right. We're going to have a decent breakfast or a decent brunch. We're going to have a decent brunch. A couple breakfast ingredients if you're deeming eggs to be breakfast ingredient or ham or certain things to be breakfast ingredients, you know, in culmination. But this is brunch for me. And yeah, the leftovers, I'm going to take to work for the rest of the week probably. I was just saying that a little while ago. All right, we're pretty much where we need to be. Let's check this one again. All right, that's looking okay. We're going to flip this one over. That's looking good. That's a pretty breakfast burrito right there. Just need to get the other side. And we're in the zone. All right, so we got our breakfast burritos right there. We got our plantains right there. And we're good to go. Backyard lumberjack, you know? Lumberjack breakfast or lumberjack brunch. All right, would y'all do anything different? What do y'all think about this? Would y'all like this? You know, so we got hot peppers in there. We have bell peppers in there. We have onions in there. We have ham in there. We got cheddar cheese in there. It's rolled into a breakfast burrito. And then we got some plantains fried on the side. How's that sound for a brunch for you? Let me know. All right. Looking at that flame. Flame on. Flame on. Flame is gone. But that box is not packed. Because if that box was packed, we'd be getting too much heat from here. And I don't want too much heat on this food. Too much heat on this food is going to burn these burritos. All right, these burritos are looking good. Look at how I need them to look. So far, so good. I'm going to just turn this one over. So plenty of heat coming on this one. We didn't get the browning yet, but maybe I'll flip this one over again. But most of that heat, because the heat is coming from just a small circle in the middle. So naturally, the middle is going to get most of that heat and browning first. So that's what's going on right there. You see? See how that? So we got that browning right there. That's because it's coming from the middle. All right, so we'll flip that over to the other side. But that middle one, that's a pretty burrito right there. Now I'm getting ready to rotate some of these too, because like I said, in the middle is where it's at. See how we got browning on that side? Browning on that side? Yeah, this one's done. Dunzo. Coming off. Look at that. Look at that. That's a good breakfast. All right, now as soon as these come off, I'm going to turn the two on the outside, turn them sideways, and put them directly in the middle and get those done. But so far, yeah, we looking pretty. Sitting pretty, looking pretty. These burritos are doing their thing. All right. We don't need too much time on the other side, but we got heat, you see? We got heat coming. Look at that. Beautiful. Beautiful. That's how we looking. Okay, let's turn this over. And we're going to put these in the middle. Sit these in the middle just like that. Let them get some nice browning on there. But this is where it's at. This is where the breakfast is at right here. Breakfast of champions, right? There it goes. I'm going to go get a cup of coffee. My wife made some coffee. And this is breakfast / brunch. Brunch of champions. Lumberjack brunch right there. All right, just made some fried plantains and some burritos right there. Some egg, ham, pepper, onion burritos. All right, a little spiciness in there. We went and got some Hungarian wax peppers from the garden. Threw some spiciness in there, and we're good. So, time to go eat. We're done, and these are pretty nice. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. Like and subscribe, and I'll see y'all on the next one. Backyard Lumberjack.